There we go.
Please be. Don't be harsh on us, please. I get it. It's important. Just try to be on our side. Don't be harsh. You stand up there and talk at the volume you would when you're presenting.
Howdy, y'all. Today is my POL. Hello, Mr. McCray. How are you today? Good? Is that good?
That works.
All right.
Good job. Thank you.
You
Mm-hmm.
have to copy the card.
Yeah. They should do it. Do you have the worksheet for that?
Yeah.
Just you can. It's fine. Or if you want to highlight something real quick.
So can I just turn it like that?
Yeah. As long as you did the worksheet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a child that's lost his way and afraid with the world.
Okay.
It's like Siberia out there. It's cold. Can I just be in here?
It's very cold. Yeah, you can be in here.
Well,
Oh,
yeah, I took
That's not
pictures.
you.
I took pictures.
Huh?
I took pictures.
oh, good. So you're planning on watching all of them?
Probably like a few.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like a few, and then I'll try to argue.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. But no, watch a couple of them.
Yeah, I'm
And
gonna
then-
watch it.
Okay.
What day do you go?
Hmm?
What day do you go? Tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, Miss, we didn't do any slides for Spanish.
I know. That's why I
Ready?
need to see that.
Yeah.
I'm staying after school.
Go
anyway.
ahead.
I took
Yeah.
pictures of the other.
I mean, we're gonna start in 9 minutes.
for Spanish.
Watch. I'll have him watch the first two. Then one of the kids isn't coming because he's sick.
Oh.
So we'll have a break. You can just go during the break.
Okay.
Does that work?
I'll let you know where I am. I
Okay.
think we're most likely going to be Mr. G's classroom.
Okay.
Tip tip. What's up?
Okay, we're about to start. So Connor, whenever you're ready. Yeah, we're gun the battery. Oh yeah, turn that into me when you come. Yeah. Oh, also Connor, one thing. So you have to remove that from my thing. Just depending on time, I also was smart to make. I would move over a little bit. The link to the other slide, so in case you want to do it, if we have time, then we can do it. Otherwise, we don't need to because it's makerspace is just so lame. All right, guys, we're about to start. The live stream is up, so everything you say or do can be heard on there. We're about to. Oh gosh, we're live streaming to millions around the world. So yeah, check it out. All right. Go ahead, Connor.
Hello, I'm Connor, and this is my Fall 2022 presentation of learning. I hope you enjoy it. So, first is humanities, intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is motivation to do something just because it makes you happy, it can energize you, it can calm you. It can be something like learning because you want to, or doing something creative or exercising. Extrinsic motivation is motivation that is brought on by doing a task such as like studying for a good grade or working for money. It can also be for avoiding a punishment. Something that I learned was that relying too much on extrinsic motivation can be really damaging for your mental health in the long run, and you really need a good balance of both extrinsic and intrinsic. My intrinsic motivation comes from creative activities such as biking, skateboarding, a lot of creative things such as drawing and writing. I draw upon my intrinsic motivation by adding creativity to my school projects. For example, my history of board game project, which is on the bottom. I work mostly on the design aspects, the colors, because that's what intrinsically motivates me. It's what I invest in projects. Usually my balance between extrinsic and intrinsic motivation is pretty stable, except when I'm in stress and like have to do a lot of work, such as exhibition week or POL week. I tend to mostly focus on schoolwork. I don't really focus on anything for intrinsic value. I haven't touched my ukulele in weeks now because of projects. But after POLs, I'll be getting my groove back, essentially. My intrinsic motivation comes from being creative. And a lot of the times I spend that creativity doing things for extrinsic value, such as school assignments. Since it's a project-based school, we do a lot of projects, so I put most of my creativity in that project. I found that after I do a project where I just put a lot of creativity, a lot of intrinsic stuff into it, I end up burnt out and I can't really make things for myself for that intrinsic value. And sometimes I feel like I can't do other things that are intrinsic, such as exercise, because it kind of mentally drains you when you do too much for extrinsic value. While researching, I learned that the more you do enjoyable intrinsic activities for the extrinsic value, the less that the intrinsic value means to me, which at first was surprising. Then I realized how I crash every time I finish a project. So this piece, Blank Canvas, represents the feeling of focusing too much on extrinsic motivation, so that when you finally get to make something for yourself or do something for yourself, it just doesn't feel worth it. It's shown with notes with project plans in front and behind the canvas. There's the POL marker on the calendar. We have the clock, that's 11:59. A lot of things such as bright and canvas. It's basically POV, spend your creativity doing school projects, and then when you finally get to do your POL creative piece, you find that you have no ideas because you're burnt out. Next slide, please. So the independent book that I've been reading is Norma by Sophie Oksanen. I haven't finished the book because it's one of those books that you have to really get into, but I really enjoy it. It's a mystery and it also explores the theme of self-discovery. It basically follows Norma, a young adult whose mother just died, and she must basically explore her mother's past to figure out who really killed her. And she also has this magic hair. It's like a gut instinct to her, but it's like always correct. It curls up when she's in danger. I think it's a pretty fun addition to the book, makes it interesting. Norma stands out to me as a character because you can see her point of view as she grasps with her mother's death, as well as the realization that she was murdered, and it also sees how it affects her worldview and how she's a reserved person because of her hair and how she doesn't want to be found out, and also because she's having this newfound independence because her best friend, her mom, isn't there anymore, and her mom is the only one who knew her secret. And her skepticism, despite her having the magic hair that tells her everything, and also having all this evidence laid in front of her, her skepticism basically drives the book along. She never really gets it. She never really believes anything, and it's really infuriating to me because like it's right there. But I just think she's an interesting character. I would recommend this book to people, especially mystery lovers. It's a really good book if you want to get in deep in a book. You want to really enjoy a book. There's a really good plot twist in the book, which I will not be talking about in case you want to read it, but it's a great read. And something that I learned was to always bring your reading glasses if you need them, because I need reading glasses, and I did not bring them to read this book, and I had a hard time. So next time we read, I will definitely be bringing my glasses. I also want to bring Post-it notes because I found that my reading comprehension and my overall my overall enjoyment of a book really relies on how well I'm able to express my feelings of the book. Like sometimes I'll be reading a book and I'll go to my friend who's right next to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'll be explaining all this stuff to her, and she's like, what? And I feel like if I write it down, if I use Post-it notes, and I can stick them in the book, it helps me, especially if you're doing reading logs. I can just go back to the Post-it notes. So my highlight project is my history of project, the board game project. I don't have it with me, Mr. McCray has it, but basically I chose this because I feel really proud of the concept. We have to make a board game based on things we have learned in class, and we did Race to the Supreme Court, and I chose it because I feel really proud of the concept. I feel like me and my group worked really well together. The design was really fun, and it turned out really well. I'm proud of it because it was something someone could use. Because usually when we do projects in art piece or a poem or something, people will look at it at an exhibition, but then they'll just look at it, they'll walk away. But it feels really good to make something like physical, something I can actually use. When I took this home to finish it, I play tested it with my family, and we had a lot of fun. And I really loved working with my group because I had a lot of fun with them. And I learned that keeping open communication with your partners in your project is really important, especially if one of you has to take the project home. I kept calling my friends, like my partners. I'm like, hey guys, what do we think of blue for the background? What do we think of this? So make sure everyone's on board. Everyone is happy with the final product. So math, at the beginning of the semester, I was really nervous because math is not my best subject. I really struggle in math. And everyone around me said that I was really unlucky because Mr. Lee was a strict teacher. He was a terrible teacher. I was like, oh, great. But I feel a lot more confident now because he's not a bad teacher. He just doesn't like it when you mess around. I really mesh well with his teaching style, especially with his homework policies. And because of his binder checks, his folder checks, I've gotten a lot better at I've gotten a lot better at keeping my stuff organized and making sure that I, get my work organized so that I can study better. One thing I'm proud of is math is my quadratics test, which I have, if anyone wants to see it. I'm really proud of it because it's the first time I had a proper study session. I made a cheat sheet, which was this. I referenced old notes because it was easier to reference them because I was keeping organized. I practiced problems I was having trouble with. I made a lot of good study habits this semester because of math, and I'm really glad I did it. So how to find the side of a right triangle using trigonometry. I have a reference problem with us because of this handy-dandy diagram. So basically our solving for x, we are given one of our sides, and we're trying to find x. First, what we want to do is label our reference angle and our sides with hypotenuse, adjacent, and our opposite side. Since we are given 60, that will be our reference angle, and using that, we figure out that the hypotenuse is x, and our adjacent is 5 because it is the leg that is right next to the reference angle. Then we need to find out what trig ratio we'll be using. So using SOHCAHTOA. Since we are given our adjacent, we're finding our hypotenuse, we can use cosine because it uses adjacent hypotenuse. Since we will be using cosine, our equation is cosine of our angle equals adjacent over hypotenuse, or cosine of 60 equals 5 over x. We plug in cosine of 60 into our calculator to start solving. We get 0.5, so our equation now is 0.5 equals 5 over x. Now we just have to solve for x. First, we would multiply both sides by x to get rid of the divided by x. And we basically end up with 0.5 x equals 5. And then we just have to divide both sides by 0.5 to isolate the x, and we get x equals 10. And that is how we find the right side of the side of the right triangle using trigonometry. So Spanish understanding. One main takeaway from Spanish 1 is the fundamentals of Spanish is a lot easier than I thought it would be and how my middle school made it out to be. I mean, it's not easy, especially not learning a new language when you're a lot older, but it was a lot easier for me because Spanish Congregation has charts, it has a lot of easier grammar rules that are easier for me to follow. It's a lot better than like there, and there, and write and read, all the weird English stuff. The first day of Spanish class was really stressful. I was expecting it to be a repeat of middle school, because in middle school we would memorize 50 terms a week, and we wouldn't use them for anything in real life. Like, we just memorized them. We would take a test, and then immediately forget them all to memorize another 50 terms, and I feel like I didn't learn anything from that. I came into a Spanish class this year knowing nothing, but I feel like I progressed a lot using my notes. I'm able to translate sentences using Pensamiento. We were translating sentences to learn about pinatas, and it was really fun. Next slide, please. Learning a language through its culture gives you a lot of valuable insights about how a culture can affect people, how they speak their language, their metaphors, and slang terms. And learning about culture through language really helps you be more in depth with the language. For example, when we were learning how to read paragraphs and translate them to English, the paragraphs that we were reading were about Piñata and the historical significance, as well as about Dia de los Muertos through learning family vocabulary. Then we were doing control sentences. So Makerspace, for which exhibition, it was Let It Go project, and it was basically all these lighting, there's LEDs, UV, and I focused on UV. I made 2 projects. One I worked the most on, one was more experimental. First was a collage. It can be shown both normal and UV light. I was really proud of this one because I spent a lot of time on it. And then the second one was UV paint on scrap wood, except it was invisible UV paint. And it was a struggle for me because I've never used spray paint before, and I messed up a lot on it. And it was also invisible under normal light, but I still had a really fun time doing it. It was just a lot of fun. Next question, please. My favorite project is the collage that I made for which exhibition. I feel like each part of it is just a different part of me, a different inspiration for me. I mean, if I didn't make or draw or write anything on here, it was a photo. And I spent a lot of time on it, and I put a lot of myself into it. It has photos of friends, and has song lyrics I've written. It's got art I made, doodles I've made. And a prominent part of the UV paint, which isn't shown in the photo, but is shown here, is a lot of runes, like Nordic runes. I put those in because it's been a prominent part of my life. Because I've known it since I was in 6th grade, and I originally used it with friends, but I started using it for my own personal projects, such as the Syrian cat, which is also on the collage here. And it's just a big part of me, and I'm really glad I was able to make it. The UV paint makes it a lot better, and it was just it's really chaotic and messy, and I really loved it. Next slide, please. I learned a lot in Mr. Y's class. I learned how to use a scroll saw, a belt sander, how to put wood, and a wood burner. Lots of valuable skills to have. But the best thing I've learned was accountability and independence in projects. I had to be self-accountable and independent when I was doing my projects in here because you had all these people doing something and it was all different. And so I was running around the room helping all these people. So you had to make sure you yourself was accountable for your project. And it made me feel more confident in my work. I was able to make sure I stayed on task. I was able to hit my own personal goals in completing the project. And I was able to just go into the classroom, grab my project, grab whatever tools I needed, just go at it and be confident that what I was making would be up to my own standards. And it's really hard to stay on task, but I was able to do it, and I'm glad that I learned how to be more self-accountable in projects. Slide, please. Appreciation. I appreciate my friends for being there for me. These past weeks have been really stressful. I get a little loud when I'm stressed, so I'm glad they were there for me, were kind to me. Also, I want to appreciate my teachers for supporting me and making really fun projects, because these semester's projects were really good, really fun. I enjoyed them. My laptop for staying alive, because it's a refurbished laptop, so I don't know how old it is. It's really old. It makes weird noises and crashes sometimes, but I was able to work on it for hours at a time, to work on this POL, work on exhibition stuff, and I'm just glad it stayed alive for me. Yeah. Thank you for listening.
All right. Does anyone in the audience want to ask a question before I jump into mine? Sienna.
Do you find it challenging to complete a project as an individual or as a member of the group, and why?
I feel it is more challenging to complete a project with a group, because you have to hold yourself and your group accountable. You have to communicate with your group. You have to make sure everyone's on task. You have to divide the tasks evenly, make sure everyone has happy with the project. Versus when you're independent, you are in control of your project. You know what you want. You don't have to communicate it with others unless you need to talk to your teacher about it.
Check.
How long did the artwork take?
The artwork, it took a few hours. I'm actually not sure, because I did it in the span of about 2 weeks in Mr. Y's class, because I had to wait for the UV paint to get there. I'd say around 2 or 3 hours to make.
Can you tell us about your level of participation in class, and were you proud of when you did it?
My participation in class, it started out, I was really strong. I would participate a lot, and it started dwindling first because I was getting a lot of anxiety about participating, but also because we stopped having a chance to participate because we were doing more projects. And I feel like I could definitely participate more next semester, and yeah.
Yeah, that was very good. It was cool to see that you had, it seemed like, intrinsic motivation to do the board game, like that topic specifically. This is just, like, obviously I have stuff that I want to teach next semester for modern world history, but is there other things that stick out to you that you would want to learn about specifically?
Government structures and why they're there and why they work the way they do, and what purpose they serve to the people. Because I learned a lot about the Supreme Court. Maybe to have a lot of other questions, why each government structure does its thing, how does it work, basically.
And then my last question is, since you're very creative, if you were in my position and you had to design a project, what would you design?
This was the one project, the one question that I didn't have an answer to.
Yeah.
Because it depends, because a lot of people like projects that are more writing, a lot of people like projects that are more artwork, more technical. I feel like it would be a project that's broad but covers a specific topic where you can, like, basically like how we did the creative pieces. We had a topic, we had things to go to, but at the same time you can make a lot of different things for it. So you had more choice in what you can make, but it still followed the thing.
Specific topic, lots of choice in what you can actually create based off the topic. Cool. Alrighty. I'll stop your time. Time was perfect. Good job, Connor. Yeah, we can pop it up again. I'll have you stay up there for a little bit so I can get my feedback. I'll make it quick. Next semester, I'll do longer ones because it's the last time I'll be seeing you. But I want to appreciate you. The presentation was very, very good. There's a reason I put you first. That's because I had faith that you would probably put together a really good presentation and serve as an example for your classmates. So thank you with that.
I thought the responses, not only did you follow all the directions, but they were very thoughtful. Your commentary around motivation was very thoughtful about how too much intrinsic motivation can damage your health. Comparing sort of how you learn a language of memorizing terms versus actually understanding sentence structure and ingratiating yourself into the culture too. So overall, just really, really good. I think it speaks to also how I see you approach things we do in class as you go deeper into it and you find meaning out of whatever it is that we're touching upon or you attempt to, which is all I can really ask for as a teacher. So I just want to, again, thank you for everything that you've done this semester. Good job, good presentation, and of course you've passed. Cool. All right. And then if you all could just pass your things over to Connor. Yeah, you should answer.
Like they're doing that.
No, just say keep it up then.
Oh.
Yeah. Whew. All right. I think we should just go into Jack's. 9:10. Okay. What's up, Chase?
I set it up on my thing to draw on the board.
Oh, yeah, I wanna do it on.
Let's use that board then. Okay. We can erase it.
So I was like a PhD of a triangle. Or I could see it.
I didn't, so.
What? It's not going to LA, it's going to San Diego.
I mean,
All right. Go ahead, grab another paper. We're gonna move on to Jack's now. Jack. Yeah. Thank you. All right, audience, are we ready? Paula? Put your phone away. Okay, Diego, put your phone away. Okay. And you may begin.
all right. My name is Jack Snyder. This is my first CPO. This is my map slide. The map, how I felt at the beginning, not the same. I mean, I felt pretty good. I feel pretty good at map usually. He's pretty good at it, but I kind of learned that I have to ask a lot more questions this year than usual. And I think I like Mr. Wu's style because I'm a big I don't really understand a lot of topics, but I do good in school because I ask questions about them and I learn how to do them. So Mr. Lu, he takes the time to answer every question I have. So I like that. And what I'm proud of is my homework for math because we get a homework packet for the week. And I'm one of the people who I don't like doing work, but because of that, I don't procrastinate. I just do it right away so that I don't have to do it later. So I usually finish the homework packet on the first day. And so because of that, I'm proud of that because then I can kind of chill for last hour class, usually the other days. And then explain the concept in detail using diagrams. I mean, I kind of did it already, but to look at it, we have the adjacent, hypotenuse, and then the opposite. The adjacent is always right next to the angle, the 71 right there. The opposite is always the opposite of the angle. And the hypotenuse is always the opposite of the square, and point right to it. And then we have to look at, we use the one side we have, and we're trying to find x. Because of that, we use the O and H. So we do sin 71 equals that of x. And in my calculator, 71 equals 0.95. So I have sin 71 equals 9 over 0.95. Then when I put that in the calculator, I get sin 71 equals 9.47. That's x. I don't think that's like the official way I'm supposed to do it, but that's just the way I've always done it, and it gets the right answer. Then for my humanities topic, it's intrinsic motivation, and I have a lot of answers in there, so this is the only ones I didn't have in there. And it's like what I learned from the articles, or like what they mean. Intrinsic motivation is motivation that comes from like the inside, like I have a piece of trash and I just like really want to throw it away for myself, or like I don't like the way it looks, like that's worth it. Like extrinsic motivation would be like someone says, if you throw away that trash, I'll give you candy. That's like that. There's my video. Wait, before you click on it, fair warning, it is pretty bad.
What do you mean?
I have not watched it since I filmed it, so I don't think it was very good. But I did like get someone edited.
Okay.
Like, it's not very good.
Some of them. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Hey guys, we're here with Jack Snyder today. Yeah, that's for Jack Snyder. Yeah. Okay. So Jack, you come here so we can interview about intrinsic motivation. Now, what is your intrinsic motivation? Definition. You define it.
I'd say I define intrinsic motivation as it's like motivation that comes from the inside and because you want to. If I would really take you on and ask you where does intrinsic motivation come from?
Where does it come from?
It comes from I'd say just like wanting to be good at things and also get done quickly. And also just like enjoyment of doing stuff.
You heard it here first, folks. Anyways, I mean, like, tell me, how is your balance between extrinsic and intrinsic motivation?
I'd say it's pretty good balance because I do like have like for example, like, I like to talk and participate in stuff in class. But I also like to get me like to be even better at it than I usually would without it. Like you have grades, you have like the reward of like A plus.
Yeah,
and like teacher appreciation.
So, how does your dog John? How does your dog?
My dog is like about 9.
Does your dog give you motivation?
I say my dog. I mean, you get me motivation in some ways.
I don't know.
I just probably asked him, how do you draw points to help you in school?
Yeah, this is like credit and
How do you draw points to help you in school?
Oh, I missed out completely.
Yeah, you did. So that's fine. It's not super at all.
Okay. So, Jack Snyder, Jack Davis Snyder. How do you draw upon it to help you in school?
I'd say draw points to help me with school. I'd say when I do homework because I like really like want to finish it fast. Like, and that's not like for extrinsic reasons. It's for intrinsic reasons because I like really want to do it fast and like it's not very ordered. I just don't want to do it. And then I also think to participate, like participating in like class sessions and philosophy and stuff.
Yeah. I feel you.
I feel like one more thing we should do is go back to the first question.
I mean, yeah, I feel like that too. Where does the intrinsic motivation come from?
It really comes from enjoyment and just like things like basketball. I enjoy it, so I want to do basketball and participate in class and enjoy it. And then I'd say it also kind of comes from like just like wanting to be good, even without like the reward. Like, it's not fun to be like, oh yeah, I got everything. Like, you want to be good, it's like to be good. Yeah, so that's why.
You guys know that? To feel good, it's to do good, and to be good. This is our guest, Jack Snyder. What's your predictions?
Okay. Wow.
On the reciting, I did this because it was a live interview. I couldn't change it.
Okay.
I didn't feel like it was.
Clear control of volume there.
Thank you. Again, no.
My humanities topic number 2 was independent reading book reflections. The books I read during the semester was The House of Hades and The Blood of Opus, just because a lot of people around, it's hard to focus on books, so I felt like those books I could focus pretty good on the people around. Like book review, it's like about them, trying to save the world, and like Towers is basically just like worse than how it was. The genre was like fantasy and like Greek mythology. And the author is Rick Riordan. He also made like Percy Jackson and stuff.
Yeah, I like that's one of my favorites. Is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief.
The book's first, like something about the book stood out to me was like Percy Jackson. Kind of see like a more evil side to him, which like in other books you didn't really see because he's like usually a nice guy. And this book, like, no spoilers, but he did like some bad stuff that he usually wouldn't do. And then I'd recommend this book to people who like if you read the Percy Jackson books like Noah, or if you like Greek mythology and if you like character relationships and just like because really, I mean, there's a lot of quests and trying to save the world, but like where I think it really shines would be like in the characters' relationships with each other. I think that's where you kind of see a lot of good stuff. What have I learned from this independent reading unit would be like how to like reflect kind of like all things and like remember things I read and kind of like how to use things I read and then like write that down in reflections and like reflect on things. For my main topic number 3 is highlighting a piece of work. What did I choose? Why did I choose it? I chose the board game project because it was a lot of work because I won't name names, so people like everyone in my group didn't do anything. So I did a lot. I'm proud of how it turned out too. I think it looks pretty good. I mean, it could look better. I'm not like the best artist, so the board game didn't look like the best. But I did like we had spaces on it, and I think it was cool enough, You press, you like land on stuff, go back. I thought it was cool. And the questions, I made like half the questions, at least, and then I made the whole board, and then I also made the game rules. So that's why I said like it was a lot of work. What did I learn from this assignment? It was like a takeaway I had. We learned about like the different strikes in sports. Like there's like 9 strikes in the MLB, 7 strikes in the NFL, and then like 5 in the NBA. We just kind of learned about like how long they lasted for, like what they were about. I didn't really see any that really did anything. So I thought that was interesting too. Like none of the strikes really accomplished much. Like at best they got like a kind of a compromise, but like they didn't really have any power at the end of the day because the big organization weren't really doing anything. We learned about like the power structure between like the like owners and players and just kind of like how the power structure works. Like you kind of see the last couple of years, like players have gained a lot of power just with social media and things like that. The big guy like we learned about was like LeBron James. It's LeBron James that kind of helped give players a lot of power just by like making decisions among themselves to kind of leave the owners out of it. And then like it kind of created more power for the players. Now the owners like are kind of forced to do things because the player says, "Oh, I don't want to be here anymore," and the owners forced to trade them. In the old days, they're like, "You're staying here no matter what." And yeah, so next up, the makers topic is let it glow. I just made Legos because we sat there for like a long time trying to like figure out what to do. We didn't really know, and then somebody else was doing Legos. And I just saw it like on the table, and I was like, "Oh, well, that sounds like it'd be fun." So then I made Legos. We're like most of the bathroom, and Leo, he's over there. He did it with me. We made the staircase and like all the houses. It's supposed to light up, but as you can see, it's not light up right now when I took the picture. But like the staircase would be like all lighted up and they look cool. So. And I contributed by like making a lot of the background. For makers topic number 2, Hello on Board. It's probably like my favorite project. I'd say it's my favorite project. I made a cute puzzle, and it's like using like elastic cord. And kind of like have to shape it into like a block. That's like the puzzle part. And I painted it orange and blue. It's not like this. That's like an example. I made it my orange and blue. And I used like this big mechanical saw to like cut out wood. It was like, it took a long time. I asked him, I was like, is anybody can do it faster? Because I was using a small saw. He said, yeah. And then he pulled out like a huge saw. And I feel like it didn't change anything. It just made it harder to do. But I don't know. But then it looks like, it wasn't, like it looked bad. He said that he just like bought me them, like blocks by himself. It said painted to make it look like old. And then like, you can use that and like we'll pretend like it looks old. And then I also had to learn how to drill stuff, and we drilled like I didn't learn how to drill like an angle into the block, so like there'd be 2 holes on each side, and you could put the elastic bolt through it. And yeah, that's all. For my maker's topic number 3, soldering. Like what I couldn't do at the start of the year versus now. I mean, I like kind of knew it existed before this year. Like we learned a bit in physics class, but like I also was sick that week, so I didn't really show up for it. So I didn't really know too much about soldering. And like during this unit, like I learned how to, specifically during like the rings project we did, because we had like wire and we had to like solder together to make the rings and like kind of what to do. And I thought I didn't know how to do it beforehand, and so using this kind of learned how to make it. For Spanish, the main takeaway was like Spanish pronouns because I feel like it was kind of the roots of everything we did. We learned how to do Spanish sentences and kind of like, then we learned ser, to be, and like conjunctions and stuff. And to do all that, we kind of had to know the Spanish pronouns first. Progression from first day. I don't know if anyone's in my Spanish class, but they know. I'm not too good at it, and I didn't really know anything. So I pretty much like learned, my progression would be like pretty much everything from this. So I learned Spanish pronouns, ser, conjunctions, like all that. Spanish pronouns like yo, to, that sort of thing. And then for ser, it's kind of like, it means in English to be. It's kind of like, those are like sentence form, kind of like more, I guess I'd say. Like yo would be soy, and then to would be like eras. Conjunctions is like, kind of more like family of words, like ER, AR, IR. And then learning about other cultures, like I said, like perspectives. Just learn about like mainly Spanish culture, but we also learned about a couple other ones too. And just like kind of see everyone has like a different perspective on like, for example, we learn about Day of the Dead. Every culture has a different perspective on like death, like how you should celebrate it, what happens afterwards, like just different ways to do it. I thought it was interesting just to see like some cultures would be like, for Day of the Dead, it was like, it's kind of more like a happy celebration or like happy thing. And then you see some cultures where like it was really sad. There's some cultures that was just like different things for everyone. Like, treated it different ways and like had different views on it. And then the fishbowl activity. I don't know.
Yeah, we're not going to do it. Yeah, you guys are off the hook. Okay,
so
cool.
Yeah, no fishbowl activity. Thank you to my friends. My teachers, Mr. Jones, Mr. McGrath, Mr. Wyatt, and Mr. Wu. Thank you guys for that. Very helpful this year. I think you did good stuff teaching. My friends, they made it a bit more fun this year. Like just, you know, here's my friend right there. And he just hooked up Mr. Wu for Halloween. That was funny. Thank you to my advisor, Miss Christina. She did good. I mean, she talked to me in my advisory. She gave me snacks, which helped me before during the day. So that was nice. Just thank you to everyone. I thought it was a pretty good semester. I don't know. Thank you for listening. Good.
All right. I'll open it up to audience members first, if anyone has any questions.
So Jack, what was your favorite thing about the year completely?
Everything about the year? I don't know, man. My math table. I like my math table. Yeah, that's one.
Nice.
How many takes did it get to finish the extrinsic motivation?
One take review.
Let's go.
That's all I needed. It was live. I couldn't change it. And I told myself afterwards, I was like, I'm not changing it. And it was live take.
How do you balance homework assignments with your extracurricular obligations?
Like I said, I don't like homework, so I just don't do it. And I just but not that way. Like I just do it in class, so I don't have to do it later. So like I haven't had homework yet this year. I just do it in advisory or like in math class because you have a lot of extra time. And so it's usually pretty easy for me now. I just don't do it.
Okay. I want to talk more about that. Like, what motivates you to not procrastinate or to work like quickly through all the work that you receive?
I don't even know, dude. In my brain, it's like I know I have to. Like I'm not gonna do this. Like I know I've always known if something happens, like this is my problem in middle school. If something like I had to do at home, I was not going to do it. And like I show up the next day at school, and I'm like, oh, I forgot we had homework last night.
Right.
And so in high school, it was like, all right, how do I fix this? Oh, I don't do it at home. I just make sure I did it in school. So I make sure like if I know I have homework assignment, I make sure I get it done in class. Like I don't have to do it later. Like in humanities, like you say we have something, like instead of goofing off, I'm like, all right, I gotta finish it now, then I'll mess around after. And I gotta finish it fast.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Knowing that you work quickly through your assignments, do you feel like they're always as good as they could have been? Or do you feel like you just do them sometimes?
You know, but definitely for something, I feel like with math, it's like I always do like my best, like just because I know I wasn't doing my best there because I get it wrong.
Right.
So in math class, I'm always very confident. I'm like doing my best. For like makers, I feel like yeah, because we don't even have homework in makers usually, so I just do whatever's in class.
Mhm.
So I feel like for that one, yeah. Spanish class, we don't do much homework either, like usually. And honestly, I'm always trying my best in Spanish because like I don't know what's going on half the time. I have to try to understand. So for humanities, I said the only one where like I don't know. I feel like I try my best, but like I guess I don't really know if I took my time how much like what it would be like.
Mhm.
But I also feel like if I took my time, I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't be able to finish things like I would. You know, like I don't know what would happen exactly, but I think that I do take my time in certain ways. Like just because I don't do it at home doesn't mean like when I'm in class, I'm not taking the time to like fully understand the topic or like when I care about something in class. Like we do like the board game project. I thought that was interesting. Like I cared about the questions. Like I didn't just like put random questions because I didn't care. Like I thought of questions, I researched them, made sure they were correct. Like I double checked some of the other questions where it was like someone put, oh, the World Series has been canceled before. I looked it up. I was like, no, it hasn't. I don't know why you did that. Or like the Super Bowl, they're like, it hasn't been. I was like, okay, maybe you just like swapped them on accident. This one was canceled. So like I did do stuff like that. Like I do like care enough. Like I fact check too. Like I don't research stuff.
Okay. Jesus, why is your phone out?
What's on my phone? I'm just checking.
Okay, whoever's phone it is, put it away. Okay. Cool. I appreciate that answer. That's pretty much what I wanted to hit on. I think there's a couple people like that who finish their work really quickly, and then it's good. And I know you understand the things, and it's better than a lot of other people's work too. But it doesn't mean necessarily that it's as good as it possibly could be. I think, like, I know you're going for the live performance of your interview, but I think that's like an example of something that could have been better. I know you finished your POL stuff really early. The last day, I don't think you did anything. You're just chilling. I feel like you could have, if I look back on the time management, you could have spent a little more time either preparing exactly the questions you wanted Diego to ask you, or realizing that it's not going well the first take, let's do another take, that sort of thing. So perhaps if that's what you're going for, but I think my point is that yes, you're very capable. You do all the things you're supposed to, and you understand the concepts. I would just be careful, like just be aware in your own mind that you should push yourself to be like to make it as good as it possibly can, rather than like I don't want to do this at home kind of thing. But it's up to you to balance that out. I want you to be aware of it when you're doing it. Okay, cool. All right, good presentation though, and you pass. Good job, Jack. All right.
I was just about to ask that about
Yeah. All right, we'll come back at 9:40. Chase is gonna go at 9:40. Okay?
Is it break? Is it break?